1160. And Mark Hilliard from the Indiana County Chamber of Commerce joins us in the studio as we talk about business doings around Indiana County. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Conversation brought to you by Marcus & Mack, a law firm representing injured people. So here we are. We're in the beginning stages. Well, I guess we could say the beginning stages of spring. Spring's coming. That's the rumor. After we get through this stuff that's coming here over the next couple of days, and hopefully, as the world begins to brighten up outside, so will the business climate here in Indiana County and around Western PA. We've got some worldwide things that are impacting what's going on. Gas prices are really, really bad.
Yeah, inflation.
And all of that stands in the way, and people might not think of it this way, but it all stands in the way of actual growth in some areas. And Chamber of Commerce, you have to pay attention to that.
Yeah, we do. And, sometimes in a small community like Indiana, we've always said that Indiana County seems to be on its own island because we're not always affected in the same way as other counties surrounding us, but we're not completely isolated either. So we still do feel that impact of rising gas prices or inflation or other worldwide events, which there seem to be a lot of these days. But at the same time, I have been saying this for the last couple of months because I've been seeing a lot more activity. We've had a lot of interest in a lot of different areas throughout the region, and I do think this year is going to be a really big rebound year for Indiana County when all is said and done. We do got to get through these next couple of months, and workforce still certainly a major issue. I was just on a manufacturing consortium call before I came in here, and many of those companies are still talking about, I think I heard one say they had 15 phone interviews. They invited them all to come for an in-person tour of the facility. 2 showed up, and they both declined. So, I mean, it's unfortunately that's the way of the world these days, where you're lucky to get people to show up for an in-person interview, even though they commit to it, and then whether you are able to get them or not. So that's still an issue that we have to address. However, it does look a lot more promising than it has over the past couple of years. So even though I don't think we're completely out of the woods, I do think that there is hope here in the county. And I think by the end of the year, we're going to start seeing some things really turning around.
Yeah, it's interesting the way that you put that, because you can attract jobs and have the jobs here within the county. And from PA CareerLink, we hear about all kinds of jobs that are posted on the board. You can have them there, but if you can't fill them, it doesn't do you a whole lot of good.
It's a nationwide problem too. It's not unique to Indiana County. Certainly, we feel the pinch because we're a smaller community, and we have less to pull from in terms of population. However, it's not something that we're doing wrong here. It's just that's kind of the way, and it has been. The workforce was a bit of an issue before the pandemic. The pandemic just really made things a whole lot worse. And if you're a job seeker, there's really not a lot of reasons why you couldn't get a job if you really wanted one right now, because it's very competitive, especially what you can make, the benefits. Companies are putting a lot more out there than they ever have because they do need the help. And, if you're looking for a job, certainly there's plenty out there that could be a really good family-sustaining job for you.
We know the Indiana Armstrong Builders Association Home Show is coming up next month.
Great to have that in person.
It's going to be in person. It's going to be at the KCAC.
Yes.
And it's really going to be a big event coming up next month. But those folks who will be there, those businesses offering their wonderful goods and services, they need some help as well.
Yeah.
I know of a contractor that is scheduled to do some work at my house that called me at the beginning of January. He said, we're going to be there sometime later this year. We want to order the materials now because there's another big price hike coming.
Yeah.
And we'd like to get it now to keep the prices low.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was talking to a couple of people and said, if you go there, I'd try to get on their schedule ASAP. I wouldn't wait because you may miss out for this year because they're already backed up in terms of their schedules. Most of those companies are. And it's because they don't have the help. They do need the help. So their schedules are so backed up. And, the supply chain issue is a bit of a problem, too, where some of those materials just aren't coming in on time, too. So that impacts their scheduling as well. But, but it is great to have that event in person and to be able to walk around and see those businesses and talk to those people. And I know they're certainly looking forward to it. And even though those companies having their schedules filled up, they're still happy to be there and looking forward to talking with the public again.
Sure. And you talk about it's such a varied field. I mean, you've got builders who are going to come to your house and do work. You've got others who are going to supply you with products that they manufacture or that they distribute. And so it's a really wide open field.
Banks for home improvement loans and
all
home
of those
equity
things.
loans.
Yeah, that's all part of that show. And you're right, man. It's good to have it back in person.
Yeah, it's. I think that is kind of a sign of things that are getting somewhat back to a normal routine. And we, our schedule, as we look towards April, May, June, it's really starting to fill up. So we are noticing that things are changing a little bit in terms of in-person events, and businesses are more willing to schedule things and get things going so that people can meet in person and network and interact. And that's a good thing. I think it's a good thing for everybody from a social standpoint as well as from a business standpoint. But it is nice to be able to have some of those things on the schedule. And I think the home show coming back is really kind of the first step in what could be a good year for us with 2022.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, a couple of things that have come up in the news recently. Congressional maps is one thing. The congressional map that was approved by the state Supreme Court yesterday, a lot of people unhappy with that map. No matter what your political leanings, one way or the other, you're going to be either very happy or very unhappy when something like that happens. But it splits Indiana County into 2 congressional districts, and if it holds, Congressman Glenn G.T. Thompson would not have the majority of Indiana County, which he has all of it now. And from the standpoint of dealing with your congressman, that's actually a loss for Indiana County because he's been pretty good since he got here.
He's been great. He attended our board of directors meeting last Thursday. He has been very accessible for us and for many of the businesses, and he attended our business after hours event that we held at Indiana School at the end of January. And he has been one that if we had a problem, had an issue, we'd be able to go to him and he'd be able to respond. And he has worked closely with the chamber and with all of our partners at the Center for Economic Operations. And we just had a conversation, he and I, about trying to get together to talk about a couple of new initiatives that we wanted to look at. So it's a loss because he has been so active. And I'm not, in terms of how things are going to be set up afterwards, I think it's a loss in general just to have the county split up like that too, when you're dealing with 2 different people, because it's, as a county, I think that, you'd like to have somebody like Congressman Thompson, who has been here and truthfully with his experience, if things would go the right way for him in November, then he could be the head of the agricultural committee and that's a big win for Indiana County to have that person representing the county, to be the chair of that committee, on a large scale like that, to have somebody with that kind of clout. So I think it is a loss, certainly for us. I mean, parts of our county still will have him representing them, but he was a good guy to have involved from an economic standpoint, and it's going to be a loss for us.
Other big news, of course, was the governor's budget proposal in Reggie and its implications for Indiana County. I know that Senator Pittman was all over it in the Appropriations Committee hearing the other day, and that pressure will continue. And we all have the idea that it's headed for court and it's inevitable.
Yeah, and I think the governor actually took some of those first steps in terms of taking it to court. But it's something that is still inevitable that we're looking at, and it's the wastewater issue is another. It's not just Reggie, although that certainly is really what's making things difficult for us.
Pressing the gas pedal down.
Absolutely. But it's something that we still are trying to talk with these power plants, and I think Senator Pittman says it all the time. It's not simply that if things would happen to come to pass and these things would close, that it's just, okay, well, they're closed. That's it. There are multiple other possibilities that can happen with those and repurposing those plants or finding other opportunities there, because even the infrastructure that exists there is still very beneficial for a lot of different companies. And whether we look at natural gas or some other opportunity, it's not simply that they would go away and that would be it, because people have been working on this for years now, because we have seen it coming. At the same time, we're not going to give up and just simply say, okay, it's coming, so that's it. And Senator Pittman is probably the best person to talk to about that, because he's been leading the charge for the last 2.5 years. But it's frustrating. The whole process is frustrating, in particular because he hasn't even came here still to this day to meet with us in
He's not
person.
even sent anybody here.
No, and I think there was one Zoom call with the commissioners from somebody on his staff, but it really wasn't. It was kind of a token call, and they really didn't discuss anything that of substance. So, unfortunately, it's been a little bit frustrating just from a communication standpoint that pushing it through without really seeing the impacts of how it's happening. And I've talked, ad nauseum about this, so I don't want to completely get into it. But that aspect is frustrating. But I do want to let people know that it's not as if these things are just going to go away and nothing is going to be there to replace them, or there won't be other opportunities there. But at the same time, you still can't. Those are jobs, those are families,
sure,
and there are impacts.
Yeah, that carbon trading auction in December was a shocker.
Yeah.
It was just amazing how quickly that got out of hand. All right, so you mentioned a couple of moments ago business after hours
Yes.
from January. You've got one coming up.
Yes, there's one actually tonight over at the new Technology and Entrepreneurship Center in the atrium on downtown on Philadelphia Street here in downtown Indiana. That's the new digital incubator and co-work space. It's fantastic. It's a great addition for Indiana County. So please come there tonight if you want to and be able to network. They're going to have refreshments, tours. It's an amazing facility, and they're doing some great things there on a digital standpoint with some apps and some new opportunities. So check that out. And we also have an after hours coming up April 7th at S&T Bank next door to here. So be looking forward to that one, and more on the schedule to come.
I like what Eric Lauber did over there because it's a unique concept that he has put together, unique at least to Indiana County, to bring something that hasn't been here before and to give people the opportunity to expand their thoughts and their business ideas.
Well, and quickly, I know I'm running out of time. It was a loss to have the small business incubator go away, and certainly that was something over at IUP that we are missing. This is a step in that direction, getting the digital part of it and having digital companies be able to have a home there, plus individuals who are able to work from home. We are doing our best to try to attract more of those from the urban areas to come here because it's a better, higher quality of life, better cost of living here, and having a space like that they can use for work and that has conference room capabilities and Wi-Fi and everything else is fantastic. So it's a great addition for the county, and it's a good step in the right direction for us.
Absolutely. All right, Mark, thanks so much for coming in.
Thank you, Todd.
It is the voice of Indiana County, WCCS 101.1 FM and AM 1160. 8:24 in the morning. Good morning to you, and thanks so much for being with us. AccuWeather tells us that today there's a winter weather advisory in effect from 6 o'clock this evening through 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. Total snow and sleet accumulation of up to 3 inches